This is gonna be weird.
This is a major downgrade from last episode.
Yeah.
Major downgrade.
I tried to fight it, but here we are. Zoom podcast, second episode in.
Guess who has COVID?
Yeah, we can guess who has it. I'll just say, yeah, I have it. The whole squad got it. This COVID podcast, episode 2. Yeah, but we're here.
We have to do our podcast intro.
Yeah.
Wait, should I say it this time and then you say the movie?
I think I'm just weird. I can't see myself. I should at least be able to see myself a little bit.
You haven't seen ...
Dirty Dancing.
Wait, do I say question mark, and then that?
As you guys can probably hear and see, we still haven't developed a fully solidified format.
Oh my god.
This is wild. But here we are, the podcast back at it. I'm glad we were able to watch another movie. So we watched Dirty Dancing. And I do have so much written down that to fit it in a 30-minute episode might be a lot. It's a shame that we didn't get to watch it together in person, because there's a lot of things said. At least I watched it with Enrique and Susu, so that was cool. I could announce it not out into like thin air.
Wait, what did they think of it? You didn't want to have our first collab episode? So I'm going to let you guys know why I wanted to watch this movie as my first pick. A very essential movie, I think it is, for everyone to see, because I went many years without watching it. Little backstory. I used to do ballet, and as part of it, I would help teach the younger kids, and there was this one 6-year-old girl, and I remember one day we were dancing to superhero. We were whatever. There's this one thing where we'd all dance as different superheroes. So I asked her who her favorite superhero was. She was like, I don't like superheroes. I just like Dirty Dancing. And she was talking about the movie. She's like, the one with Patrick Swayze and stuff. And I was like, I'd never seen it at this point. So I was like, I was thinking to myself, your mom lets you see that? And then I went and watched it later. And then I was like, okay, I definitely understand where she's coming from. At the same time, though, I think it's a little too much for somebody who's 6, but respect. So
she was 6 talking to you about this?
Yeah.
I was good. That was my first question. I was gonna ask when you watched it.
Because it's one of those things where movies that are targeted towards females, I'm just gonna get right into this, are automatically less than because of that. And I think so that was one reason. I was just looking back all the movies that I've watched, and okay, what movies do we want to watch and stuff, and a lot of them are men in all of the movies, and it's what makes them better than Dirty Dancing, say, that's targeted towards women and has a female character as the lead and all of that, and some of them maybe you could say are better. A lot of them are more modern, so they're gonna be probably better, at least technically. So this is why I wanted to watch it, because it's it's just a different movie, and I don't know, I think there's good things in almost every movie you can see. So yeah.
I guess we'll save the rating for the end. I was gonna ask what you thought the rating was, but I'll find out slowly throughout this whole thing. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun episode. I will admit I was lost for a lot of it.
Wait, really?
It was hard to keep up. I was asking
Are you serious?
a lot of questions, and Susu, for sure.
Wait, why? Is the COVID hitting or what?
I hope we don't reference COVID every 5 minutes.
No, because this is I feel this is a simple plot line. That's the main problem with this film, is how generic the plot line is.
I will take that, and I will say I blame it on the COVID.
Okay. So what are your overall thoughts of the film? Generally speaking.
It was hilarious. I really liked it. Would I watch it again? Probably not. What the
motherfucking?
But
damn.
But the craziest thing.
Hell,
You said you liked it, right? Before I keep going. Is it one of your your diehard this is a film that speaks to your soul type film?
You just say whatever you're gonna say, okay?
Am I walking on thin ice? by bashing it right now.
No, go ahead.
It was cool to see it. After seeing so many like different films reference it. I had no idea that it's like the source of The Lift. I thought that was just like a thing. Like, nah, I've like literally seen like I had this Family Guy disc that they spoofed Star Wars. And in that spoof, they spoofed Dirty Dancing. And they did the whole song with it and The Lift. And I literally would never forget that part. And I knew they were referencing something. They made it super obvious. I just never knew what. And it was Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, it's a pretty reference movie.
I have a lot of questions for you is what I was just going to say.
I don't like that.
How old are the two main characters supposed to be to you?
So I didn't know how old they were, but when I went and looked it up now, like I found out that he's like 24, she's 18.
I was watching the whole thing, and about like a fourth of the way through, I committed to watching it through the lens of she was 18 and he was 35.
What?
And it added a whole different dynamic to the film. I was in that like, dang, this is a crazy film for the times. I was like, whoa, like...
So what, like, was there anything that really stood out to you about the film, or like any of the plot points, or like anything that, yeah, just any of that? Like, what stood out the most to you about it besides the age gap?
Without any spoilers, I was like, oh, when the first scene that came up with them like going into that like hidden room where like they're all dirty dancing, yeah, and I was like, that's why the movie's called Dirty Dancing. That's wild. It's funny because I have a story about Dirty Dancing personally, which I can tell whenever.
Yeah, we're ready.
So me growing up with that ideology that's like literally grinding is the only dance that you do like with a partner in a club. Like there's no other like form of it. I don't know what else to do. I'm in Europe. I'm at this club by myself, 18, still super naive, like super like immature. And I'm talking to this girl and like randomly, and we're having like, a cool obvious conversation because she's from a different country, and I'm like, yeah, I'm from America. I'm like by myself out here too, yada yada. And I asked her to go dance. And so we go to like the middle of like everyone, and we're like super excited to dance. And like I do this cool like spin move, or I like spin her around to like start fucking grinding. and she's like super weirded out by it. And she's like, oh, it doesn't say anything. Gives me like the scaredest look of all time, and like brushes me off and like dips. And I was like, I was so like, what did I just do? I was like, I thought we were vibing. Like, I was like, yo, like, is this not what people do?
Wait, what was everyone else doing? What was everyone else doing then?
I mean, other people were grinding too, but like, I'm sure they were probably like closer and like had an established connection and like had what is that called? Consent. And I literally learned the biggest lessons. I was like, whoa, like maybe this isn't like what people normally do.
Maybe this is like American thing.
Yeah, and I think about that a lot. But this movie brought that back to me, is how I tie that story up.
Well,
yeah.
So, let me think what other questions I have. Moving on from that.
I know, seriously, that's that long story.
So, any other general things we want to talk about before we get into this? I don't know.
I'm trying to get into the nitty gritty, man. Just if you haven't seen Dirty Dancing, like there's gonna be so many spoilers in this because there's too many specifics.
All right, spoilers are coming up now. You've been warned.
The choreographer of this movie. Do you know who he is?
No.
A legend. Kenny Ortega.
Who's that?
Kenny Ortega, the one and only choreographer of High School Musical.
Oh my god.
Oh. Literally, Kenny Ortega.
How is this a spoiler? Anyways, keep going.
It's a huge deal to me. When I first saw him, that's why I texted you. When I first saw him pop up in the credits, I was like, the Kenny Ortega? Like, bruh. I don't know. When High School Musical first came out on Disney, they highlighted him so much. I literally never forgot his name because they highlighted him so much. They showed behind the scenes, yada yada. Like, he's a legend.
So overall, like, what did you think of the film? Like, it was made in the 80s, but it's like set in the 60s. How did that like translate to you? Because I'll just say for like me, like I know there are a lot of movies that were made like back in the day, like in the 80s or 60s, when they're referencing an older time period, like they're never going to be actually wearing costumes that are from that time period. They're going to take the time period that they're filming in and they're going to put it onto that time period. So like this is set in the 60s, but you couldn't tell because like everything they're wearing is from the 80s. But the main reason it's set in the 60s is because abortion was illegal at this time. And that's like the reason.
That makes way more sense. Because after the movie, I looked up. I didn't realize it was set in the 60s.
She says it in the beginning. She said, wait. She says it in the beginning.
I'm telling you, I was so lost. There's so many parts where I was lost. That was, I guess, the first part. I looked it up and I was like, why? Like, when was abortion like became legal in the United States? And I was like, the dates just didn't line up because the movie came out in '87, and I was like, did they just have like sketchy doctors back then because it was like so fresh? That makes way more sense.
I mean, abortion.
I
no,
almost
like,
didn't even get that she had to get an abortion.
What?
I almost didn't. I had to ask and confirm with Enrique and Susu that she is pregnant and had to get an abortion. That's how lost I was.
How? Wait, why were you lost?
This is why we can't be doing these distanced.
What the fuck? I need you to watch older movies, okay? Because I have a feeling all the movies are going to show me are from the O's and onward. And you need to watch these older movies where they're like slow as And honestly, this one had a basic plot line, though. I don't even know what to talk about because it's kind of like I've seen it a couple times now. And I know like where I stand on it, but I'm interested to like know where you stand on it. And you watched it with other people, so I'm like interested to know like how that was for you. And like
in the beginning, Susu mentioned that Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey did not enjoy working together on the set. Apparently, she watched this documentary that she knew everything about the movie, and I watched it through that lens, and I was like, whoa.
Because I literally, right before this, I was, like, looking up what other people had said about it and stuff, and they were talking about each other a lot and how much they liked working with each other.
Really? And apparently Patrick Swayze was, like, injured a lot on this set, too, and then Jennifer Grey was, like, learning dance, like, as she went and all that. Dang.
I don't know, because I saw interviews of both of them talking about working with each other and stuff. Well, and her story is actually really sad, because after she did Dirty Dancing, she didn't dance forever. And then Patrick died, and then she was like, she wanted to dance again because of that. And so then she got on Dancing with the Stars, and then won Dancing with the Stars. And I was like, I was literally crying before this. It's so fucking sad. I mean, I don't know, but yeah.
That's a lot. There's a lot going on there. One, because I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't know who Patrick Swayze was. I went into it not looking him up because I was like, I'm gonna see if I could figure out who it was, and I was wrong for like the first fourth of the movie. And I didn't know he was dead. Dang.
Yeah, he died pretty young, like at like 50 something of pancreatic cancer, I think.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what he was like. I've heard his name, Patrick Swayze, and I like literally was like, I don't know who this man is. Is he famous for Dirty Dancing?
So, Dirty Dancing is like a very famous movie. It's referenced a lot and in a lot of things. And like this definitely shot him and Jennifer to stardom for sure. I think he was kind of famous before that, but this definitely like catapulted his career.
What'd you think of their relationship?
In the film? When I know that like when I first watched it the first time, it's like that it's, I don't know. I like to think of this film as just like a summer fling type of like situation. And I think the thing that like I like about the film is that like she's, I don't know, like he doesn't really like her in the beginning, but she really likes him. And so that's like something that I don't think we see a lot in films. Like, I don't know. But watching it now and being like, he does look so much older than her, it is like, honestly, his character comes across as very sad for the fact that, like, you feel bad for him in a way because he's always, like, talking about, like, you know, his struggle and whatever. But then you're like, okay, he's supposed to be, like, 24, and he's just, like, kind of very accusatory to this girl for a lot of the film. So, like, watching it now, part of that's, like, that's a little awkward. That's a little, like, you're more adult than that. Like, you should be more adult than that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What do you think about the relationship?
I don't know if it was, like, skewed for me just watching and be like, oh, they didn't like working with each other. Let me see if I could, like, see that. Because I wasn't about it, honestly. I was like, yo, like, I'm not, like, oh, like, I'm so glad they got together. Like, oh, like, I feel that love. Like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, homie's, like, twice her age. The thing is, that's why I want to know how you feel about it, because I don't want to tear your heart apart if this is like
literally no, dude. Literally no. Just go in.
I was not about it at all. I was like, goodness gracious, bro. Like, I didn't understand, like, why was Jennifer Grey so important? Like, and her dad was like, no, you can't see this guy anymore, and like, what is that whole scenario?
So, like, yeah, I don't know how this is going to be to show you other films, because you have to know history about, like, the way people interact at these times. I'm just saying, because I feel like older films, if you watch, like, an older film that's made, like, if you watch a film that's made now and is set in an older time period, they're going to make it so you can understand it now. But, like, back in the day, in the 60s, when all this was supposed to be happening, even though it was actually the 80s, the 60s, like, he was, like, lower class, and the dad didn't want her to get with him because of that. And also, like, I don't know, in the 60s, like you were considered, like, lower to be, like, just going out and sleeping with random people. And also he is, like, a servant. What he does as a dancer is considered less than what, like, the servants are doing. Because the servants are, like, all from, like, prestigious, like, schools and whatever. Like, they're all in college. That's, like, why Patrick said something to them about, like, oh, you college boy, or whatever he says. Like, because he's not going to college. He doesn't have anybody to pay for him to go to college. Like, dance is the only way for him to, like, afford that. And, like, that's why him and then the girl that gets pregnant, Penny, are, like, considered less than. That's why they have to keep their, like, little dirty dancing club secret, too, because it's, like, considered dirty. Even though I don't know how dirty that really even was for the 60s or the 80s, but in this movie, it's supposed to be really dirty.
I, like, understood, like, I assumed that. Like, I did. Trying to keep an open mind about it. To me, that's just goofy. Like, I don't know. It's a different time, though. I gotta understand it's a different time. I'm just like, yeah. I'm like, bruh.
Yeah. I mean,
It feels goofy now, but having an open mind and trying to understand from back in the day, like, yeah, I guess I could see that being a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it is a thing.
Yeah.
It's so weird, like, talking about, like, the abortions and stuff because, well, you know, but, like, it is illegal. It was illegal back then in everywhere. And, yeah, the dad doing that for her, like, I think that was, like, a really sad moment for him because he just, like, thought of his daughter being so much, like, above that and, like, not being around people that would have to have abortions and stuff like that. So, like, I don't know if the dad's character is supposed to be, like, somebody we're really supposed to like or just somebody to, like, for us to, like, bounce off of and understand where this whole family is coming from. Like, that's the type of people that they are. Like, it's represented by the dad, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Did I personally, like, enjoy it?
Enjoy
Not
what?
Really.
Enjoy
like,
what?
The dad? Did I
Yeah,
personally
no,
enjoy
I
the
don't
dad?
think people are supposed to enjoy the dad. I don't know where you're getting that.
Like, I
don't know.
literally didn't empathize with him at all. Like, I was like, don't act like you're doing a favor and then talk so much shit about them behind their back. Like,
Yeah, no. I don't think we're supposed to empathize with him at all.
yeah, I was like, I have no feelings. Like, don't. I was like, nah, like, I'm not about it at all.
I mean, but that's like an actual representation of people, though. Like, you will see those people being like, I need to save everyone, and they're the same people that will talk down about those people that they're helping save behind their backs. Like, that's a very accurate representation of somebody. Especially, like, especially people in that time period, especially, like, him being, like, you know. in that time period.
Yeah. I wish I had more questions for you. It was just like so much going on. I was just like writing down like everything that I was like flabbergasted by.
Wait, well, like, how surprised were you by this movie? I guess I'm really confused about where you're coming from with, like, I was so surprised or, like, this and that. Like, wait, what?
I went in completely blind, like, which is, I don't know if I would do that again, because, like, I was just, like, it was just hard to follow, like, even not knowing that it was based in the 60s, and, like, the whole, like, that is, like, a huge thing to miss to watch it, like, literally, like, how are you gonna be showing me a movie I watched?
I need
I'm so lost.
I need to teach you how to just sit back and enjoy a fucking movie for what it is. I don't want you to fucking expect, like, this is gonna be Inception. No, it's fucking not. This is Dirty Dancing, and we're having fun while we're having fun. Okay, we don't like the dad.
It was fun. If we're getting to the nitty gritty, but on the surface,
keep
was
going.
fun. I will say.
Keep going.
Hey, yo, don't get me wrong. That movie was fun. But was I lost? I will say I was a little lost.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, this is just another general thing, and I'll bring it up now so I don't have to bring it up ever again if we start watching movies from before the 90s.
What the fuck? Go for it.
But it's crazy, a lot of, and I hate to group movies together, but I haven't seen a movie that's proven me wrong. These, like, older movies, I guess, these back in the day movies are very, like, they breathe out scenes a lot more than, like, new cinema.
I don't know. I just take it for what it is. I wouldn't be watching this movie now and being like, what they did was, like, they did a really good job, like, technically. But, like, when you're watching it, like, no, because I've seen so many movies from the 80s and, like, 70s and stuff like that, and this is how pretty much all of them go. If they're faster paced, like, they probably had a way bigger budget.
Oh, this is going to be such a bad take, and I'm going to get so much hate on this, I know.
You're always
Especially
setting
doing a
yourself
film.
up. You're purposely doing this now. I'm not even...
Especially being, like, a film podcast. Oh, my gosh. A lot of people want to appreciate, like, these, like, OG films. and I don't know. I don't know if it's because I got into it late. So I didn't really grow up with, like, these old school, like, movies that are, like,
I mean, having been born in the 70s and, like, watching all these 80s movies and 90s movies, no, I don't fucking know. All I know is that, like, when I watch movies, like, yeah, there's something you just have to accept when you're watching a movie from a certain time period. I'm not saying you need to appreciate the, like, cinematic wonderfulness of Dirty Dancing. I'm just saying, like, there's something to appreciate about it. And I think the, like, main thing that this, like, film excels in is the actors. Like, even though it's a pretty basic plot point, besides the fact that there's an abortion happening and, like, this actual, like, serious stuff, is, like, the actors, like, whether or not you want them to get together or not, like, I don't know that that's, like, the point as much as, like, just every scene, I really feel like they really bring it alive. And if they had, like, better cameras and stuff, I feel like you'd be able to feel that more. But I don't know. I think that's honestly the best part of this is, like, them.
The whole fact of it being made in the 80s and, like, it's centered around Jennifer Grey and kind of what you were saying, like a female story, like a woman's story. And this was in the 80s. And honestly, that conversation could still be had today.
Because literally, I can't give you a single other movie about, like, an abortion without it being, like, through the lens of a guy and, like, his girlfriend needing an abortion or something like that. Or, like, it being this, like, really emotional, like, very, like, heavy thing. Like, it is heavy, but, like, I don't know, it just shouldn't be, like, that way.
They're trying, but there isn't a lot of, like, well-written, female-dominant movies still. Like, yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong, like, Dirty Dancing is, like, dope for that, and I'm sure it was probably even more groundbreaking back in the day. There's no other point to that. Like, that's just what I had to say.
But I feel like, whereas, like, this is a critique for our podcast dynamic. For the other one, you were trying to get us to disagree, and for this one, you're trying not to have a disagree. Like, I'm literally... You don't even know. I've been at rock bottom. You can't fucking hurt my feelings. I know. I fucking know.
I feel like we don't have the same feelings about this movie at all. I don't like it. Like, I wouldn't watch it again. But I understand what it was. I understand, like, how impactful it is and how it's, like, great.
Then that's what you should have said.
It is, but personally, I wouldn't watch it again.
So, what do you not, I guess, yeah, go into, like, what do you not like about the movie?
My attention span, I feel like is longer than majority of people nowadays, but it is definitely shorter than the 80s. Let me say this, like, I was lost. Yo, never again am I going into a movie, honestly, before 2000 without doing some research first.
What the fuck?
And never again are we doing this Zoom-ass podcast.
Stop blaming the Zoom. I love to watch movies, even if they're, like, not arguably, like, great. But I think there are some really good points about this movie. Like, it's a pretty basic film. And I already told you all the other points. But, like, I think it's just, like, a really fun movie to watch. Like, I don't feel bad after watching it. I don't feel, like, you know, unsettled. A lot of people like Dirty Dancing. I just need to find those people.
I guess it's a cult classic. It started off, I was like, this is going to be a comfort movie. Like, when it opened, I was like, ooh. Like, I could see why Keziah recommended it. It's like, I might have to, like, keep this on the back burner, like, for a comfort movie. And then it just, like, went into this, like, thing of, like, she's 18, he's 35, like, he's falling for this child, like, I'm just like, what is happening, bro? Like, they're all up in this dancing, like, I don't understand, like, why there's, like, this huge, I understand, but I don't agree, and I don't, like, feel for this, like, different, societal barrier thing, and I was like, man, I'm not about it, like, I'm just like, I'm past that time, like, I don't care about this stuff, but I understand they're highlighting that it's wrong. So I gotta empathize with that. Maybe it just triggered me so much that I'm just like, man, like, I don't. I'm just like, yo, it was fun. The Dirty Dancing shit was hella fun, and I wasn't about it. So like, that's the long story short. Like, it really was not anything. Like, I wasn't like rooting for them at all. Like, I was like, bro, like, can they like stop doing anything together? Like, I really couldn't care less. Like. Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it's very understandable. I don't have any other questions.
Man, if we were in person, I swear we would have tore each other's heads off, man. Good thing we're not even like... Good thing this was a freaking Zoom podcast, man.
Okay, so now, what would you rate this film 1 out of 10?
I might need like 4 seconds to contemplate this. 6 out of 10.
What? I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Are you serious?
We are not talking about this movie like we have such different opinions on it, and you are not giving it a 6 out of 10 after all the accolades you gave.
No, because I love this movie, but it's a 6 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10 for what it is. It's good, but it's still a 6. What?
That's what I've been trying to say this whole time.
No, it isn't. You said I don't like this film. What the fuck? Okay.
I don't. I really don't. But for what it was for the time, it's a 6 out of 10. Like,
All right. All right. So, let's just wrap this out. Next week is gonna be another week of me bringing another movie to you. So hopefully you'll like this one better.
Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, what? I'm supposed to say it.
Oh.
I'm trying to do a drum roll over here with only one hand. Okay, whatever. It's Brokeback Mountain.
I thought you were pointing me to say it.
No,
I was about to say SpongeBob SquarePants.
Valentine's Day edition.
Yeah.
So fun. And it's also referenced a lot, so it's good that you see it so you get the references.
Yeah. We could get some fun grub before so we could, like, eat during the No?
Yeah, I guess we could actually, yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm so lost, huh? I'd be multitasking.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for today's podcast.
Tune in next week, where we talk about Brokeback Mountain. Oh no.
Hopefully in person. I've had a cough for a while, but I'm not like actually getting sicker. All right.
Thanks for bearing with this Zoom podcast. See y'all next week.